lots of people, including people who do not get to use the
That's
train
right.
because it'll never be convenient for them, get to pay for the nice ride for somebody else.
Well, not only that, but the Santa Barbara City had a individual on their rail group go down there, and Ventura, and talked with Ventura, and got Ventura saying, yeah, we like this idea. And he said, in the paper, in the news press, he goes, this is what we are going to have to do. We're going to have to put switching in. We're going to have to put upgrades of the rail. We're going to have to straighten out some curves. Well, the problem with that is that the group that the County of Santa Barbara belongs to is called LOSAN. This is a rail group that looks at all rail issues. Okay? LOSAN did a definitive study of the area from Oxnard to Goleta, and guess what? They're talking well over $700 million to properly put in the upgrades necessary to make rail work. $700 million, and by the time they get it all done, I'll bet anything that it'll be $1 billion. And if you look at Amtrak this year posted a $1.5 billion deficit.
Okay, they're an operating loss.
So if they're going to spend $1 billion just to upgrade the rails to make it proper for the transportation, they're talking about adding over half of what Amtrak has in the way of deficit for Oxnard to Goleta. That doesn't make economic sense.
That's pretty stunning. You can see how buses would...
Yes. Buses
you could be putting buses on there. They'd go at better times. They don't have to worry about freights coming through.
That's right.
and sidings. They don't need switching. I'm not against mass transit. You have a lot of people around someplace. Mass transit can be quite good. I'm not against trains. And I've traveled in Europe. I've traveled in Japan. And I say, well, trains in Tokyo are great. I say, the density here is for a metropolitan area of some 40 million.
That's right.
And what do you know? That'll support some terrific trains.
Yes. As a matter of fact, just to let the listeners know that CAB recommended 5 years before SBCAG put them on the road to have express buses from Ventura County to Santa Barbara.
And it's a good solution.
Yeah.
They finally did it.
Yes. So the other thing that CAB recommended, and then MTD finally got around to doing in the last couple of years, is making express routes. In other words, taking the core routes that have the highest number of riders, putting more buses on there, and getting them to move more efficiently. And guess what? They've increased the amount of ridership.
Yeah, that's where it would work.
But here's the other situation. CAB has done a definitive study of bicycle traffic in Santa Barbara.
Oh yeah, I wanted to hear about that.
It has been supported by groups like Santa Barbara Safe Streets, and if you know about the blog on the internet called Ed Hat,
yes.
Ed Hat went out and give these people credit. Ed Hat and CAB do not see eye to eye on a lot of transportation issues, but they're honest about what they do. They went out and said, let's do this properly. They paid for their own counters. They went on the streets, did a count. They counted both cars and bicyclists, and they came out with 1.6% of all the traffic on the streets were bicyclists. This is far less than the claim that the SBCAG phone survey that just came out a couple months ago claimed 2.3 to 2.7%. Well, we knew that wasn't true.
Right. Oh, you've been doing counts.
That's right. We've been doing the on the street. We've been doing the hard work that the Bicycle Coalition and Coast and other groups that hate our guts don't want us to do.
How did the Ed Hat number compare to the numbers that you had taken? Were they close?
Very close. We had estimated closer to 1.5, but we're not going to quibble about 1/10%.
No point in that. But it's good to see it. At least it seems to reflect some kind of reality.
We also did a count just out in Old Town Goleta. We started this count about 5 years ago. When we first started, they had 65 riders on Hollister. The latest count we did was about 3 weeks ago. They had 40. Well, 2 years ago, they had 45. So you see the same demographics that are happening in Goleta that are happening in Santa Barbara, and these demographics also hold true across the entire North America.
Okay, so it's not that something funny is happening here.
No,
this is some kind of normal demographic change that's happening all over.
That's correct.
All right. Well, we still have loads of topics to go, but only about 8 or 10 minutes. Let's pick some that you like. And you want to talk about red curbing, or we want to give it a miss? It's something
let's talk about North County for real quick.
Okay, yeah, okay. And I especially wanted to touch on what's going on with highways 166 and 246.
Right,
so it sounds to me like they need work and they're not getting it.
Well, 246, for those people that are listening that, let's say you live up there and they just happen to be tuning in right now.
And lots of people here use it. So.
That's right. 246 has been averaging, unfortunately, 3 or 4 deaths a year. And the reason they've been averaging that, in part, is because of the construction. It was an older 2-lane highway for the most part that went from Lompoc, Vandenberg, up through the valley. That is now a heavily housed, heavily used area. That area, Caltrans has already done the work they're supposed to do. They now have bought all the right-of-ways. They've done all the engineering, everything that they need to do to put that in there, and they can't get enough money out of South County because South County keeps putting the kibosh on it.
And does South County have the money and they just have different priorities?
Well,
what's going on?
South County wants to see that North County goes the way of South County and forcing people out of their cars. South County doesn't want to give people the option. They want to force them out. They want North County to now to start taking that route.
Well, certainly if people are killed in their cars, they won't be driving. So it's an approach. I know I'm being unduly cynical here, but we know that the gas tax money is going into various funds for this stuff.
Right.
We know that the only reason we give them this money is because that's what they said they would do with it. And now they want to sit on their hands. Yeah.
Well, part of it,
you'd just drive if I built that highway.
Part of it has been taken by the state. So to be fair, the state of California has rated those funds for other issues. Now, for instance, up at 166, you go up through Guadalupe, up and through there, they're getting ready to put in close to 2,000 new houses. And that 166 is a 2-lane agricultural road. It's, in essence, an agricultural road. And if they're going to be putting in all that housing, they need to get 166 widened just as 246 needs to be widened.
Yes.
And it's not fair for those people who have this thing against the automobile or the truck. Let me throw out a statistics that are going to make a lot of people happy out there in the audience. One major volcanic eruption produces more greenhouse gases than all the cars and all the trucks in the world produce in 1 year. Now, Kilauea in Hawaii has been on a 23-year rampage. You just had another major volcanic set off in Latin America. I believe you had another one in Southeast Asia, down around Indonesia.
Yes.
So over the years, these volcanoes have been pumping out more pollutants than all the cars and all the trucks in the world have been producing.
Well, not to get too deep into the greenhouse thing, but the major greenhouse gas in the world is water vapor.
Right.
The contribution to the greenhouse effect of CO2 is relatively minor compared to that, and then the contribution of humanity to the CO2 is again relatively minor, in somewhere in the under 5% realm, where if you suddenly cranked it back by 25%, the world would probably not notice.
I'm an exercise physiologist by education and by avocation. One of the things I did is when this big argument came out about, well, the car produces so much pollution and so forth, is that another cab member, one of the original board members, sat down and figured out what it would take to produce the